A big hello to everyone and welcome to our masterclass on Agentic AI applications and service experience. My name is Philip Perrin and I'm delighted to have you join us today. We're honoured to have Professor Mohamed Zaki, Deputy Director of the Cambridge Service Alliance at the University of Cambridge, leading this session. Thank you for joining us online. Today's session is all about exploring how Agentic AI can transform service experiences. This masterclass is brought to you by the University of Cambridge online. Just a quick note before we start, you have all joined in listen-only mode. If you do have questions for Professor Zaki, please submit them at any time using the Q&A box. We'll address them at the end of today's session. And finally, this session is being recorded and you will receive a copy by email after the webinar. So here's what we aim to achieve today. First, we'll gain a deeper understanding of Agentic AI applications in service experience. Second, engage in a live discussion with Professor Zaki. Third, learn about professional training opportunities with the University of Cambridge online. And finally, outline next steps following today's session. Before we dive into the topic, let me share a little about University of Cambridge Online. We're recognised as a leader in online learning, delivering high-quality programmes that meet the needs of learners, clients, and the wider community. All of our courses are developed and led by Cambridge academics. You'll have live weekly sessions with course academics, specialist tutor support, and access to a world-class learning platform. Plus, you'll earn a University of Cambridge Online certificate and join a global community of learners from over 60 countries. In fact, 98% of our learners rate their experience as good or excellent. On successful completion, you'll earn a prestigious University of Cambridge Certificate of Achievement. You'll also gain CPD points, receive a digital badge to share on LinkedIn, and join our exclusive alumni network. Today, we're joined by Professor Mohamed Zaki. Mohamed is Deputy Director of the Cambridge Service Alliance. And as before, I am Philip Perrin. I'm an Enrolment Advisor with Cambridge Advance Online. So now let's dive into the heart of today's session, Agentic AI applications in service experience. Over to Professor Zaki to walk you through what Agentic AI means, how it differs from traditional AI, and why it's becoming so critical in shaping service experiences. Over to you, Mohamed.
Thanks, Phil. Lovely to be here with you all. In the next couple of 45 minutes or so, lovely to discuss this emerging topics and how it is really shaping different industry in particular. I would like to start, if we can share the screen with the video, with the first video. To starting a little bit with an engaging video. I'm not sure how many of you heard about Comet, which is the new browsers that coming to our world from different organizations or tech organizations, which is called Perplexity, which is a new browsers like Google, like Chrome, like Internet Explorers and many others, but has this agentic AI capability on the back. In this example here, I'm using, like I said, Comet, which is the recent browser that have been produced by a company called Perplexity. And I'm developing here a scenario where I'm saying, I am moving to a new house. This is a place of the house. This is a postcode. This is here a UK postcode. And I basically saying, I would like a recommendations about the best energy provider in this area. And there is a couple of criteria here I would like the agents to really give me some recommendation based on this. One is obviously the budget, which is everybody is about. And secondly as well, the great experience and expectations that I would like to have with the provider that I would like. What's going on here is I'm delegating tasks that I used to do by myself and my wife. Typically take me one day, go and do a comparisons in different websites. There are websites do these comparisons, but it's still relying on you as a human to go and digest information, look for reviews, and then take a sensible decision around which service provider you have. But what's going on here is actually the AI agent here went to collect all the information of the web, compare different websites, compare different social media reviews, and then provide the top 5 or 4 type of service provider that can get me this service for. Then I asked the question, okay, well, I used to, for example, here in this case, I used to be a British gas provider, which is one of the energy provider here in the UK. Why are they not good in their experience? Then they go deeper again about the decisions, why they said they are number 5 or number 4 in this order. And they said a couple of things, because obviously the criteria I put is about experience. They said they're below average in customer score across the UK, compared to someone like Octopus Energy, which is another providers. Common problems like smart issues problems, switching difficulty. When you have some complaint, they're not that great in complaint handling and etc. But more importantly, they're not a great in interpersonal service or personalized service in general. You can see here from this case, the future of our interactions with these platforms, how it's going to look like. And the most important things is actually this type of recommendation came in a couple of seconds. Like I said, in my case, typically I could take one day to take a decision which energy provider I will go for. But then with these type of technology, it enabled a quick and fast and recommendations. And in the future, when it's getting better and better and have access to more information, probably a lot of customers will rely on them. So for practitioners and organizations who are coming to listen to us in future, if you like practitioners as well, if you are still in as a students or going to university level, this will be the future customers, how they interact and take decisions. So organizations need to equip themselves how this technology can work toward them, not against them. Gone these days where you are going and trying to engaging with customers through your product prices and services. Now everything is relying on the experience led, and your content online has to be spot on to enable this AI agentic to recommend you and give the best experience to your customers in general, and to become part of that recommendation. This is an example of a B2C, but also I heard from a lot of companies that I'm interacting with in B2B as well. This is the similar case. So in one scenario, for example, if you're looking for a customer support AI agentic company, for example, and you would like to do some comparison about different service provider. Now, practitioner in these organizations as well go there and ask these AI models, ask these agentic models to go and come up them with recommendation. And typically what I hear from people who are asking sometimes a new customers coming to them, how did you hear about us? And they say, oh, we asked ChatGPT, or we ask, for example, Claude, and they give us recommendation that you are one of the good service providers, and hence we are connecting with you now to see whether we can work with each other. So again, this is not only a reaction of a B2B or a B2C type of level. This is our future now, engaging with this technology to enable us to get the things that we need. If we can flip to the second slide. Based on our research here in Cambridge, I would like to focus about some of the areas that I was interested in over my career, and how these kind of AI and agentic applications will shape different, if you like, functions like marketing, customer service, and sales together. The way I see it, this AI agent has a potential to orchestrate these customer-facing workflows and connect what we used to say is actually segregated functions that typically in established firms, they were not integrated together. And the way I'm saying this, because to be honest, very little companies who actually what we call them customer experience centric firm. So when I'm saying customer experience centric, probably something comes to your mind like Amazon, right? Which is, they are very, very known about their quick services, delivery services, next day delivery services, and etc. But if you look to other organizations, they are far away from these type of interactions, because the case is, they tend to become a product-centric firm, or if you like, a service-centric firm. But when you become a customer experience-centric, that everything is around your customers. So your marketing team, your digital team, your sales team, all have engagements with the data that related to the customers and track customers across what we call it digital and physical and social channels to enable them to understand their needs, to enable them to understand their preferences, and then provide the right service and experience to them. Hence, we see there are an opportunity in different these functions. So how to track customers across the different systems that you have. And when we talk about systems here, the way we structure them into attitudinal data. So probably most of you are aware as a customer or as a practitioner that typically you receive type of surveys, reviews after a company provides you to a service. But typically, a lot of firms just focus about these data points, but there are other data points in your system that you're not connecting to, like, for example, CRM data, like your commercial data, like your digital engagement data. And the way we see this agentic will change this, because actually you can have the capabilities now to track these different data points across these different systems and enable you to take the right decision to your customers. And I think the second application is more about the multi-model capabilities here. And this comes from the content we as a firm are generating to engage better with our customers. And the case here is actually digital give us this capability to engage in a very good relationship, in a highly engaged relationship with our customers. And that could be translated into textual contents, for example. We send emails, for example. We go to social media, send some text to our customers. It could be images, it could be videos, it could be voices, all these kind of different modality. Now with the capability of AI and Agentic can enable us to analyze and generate as well. And we'll talk a little bit as well how we can leverage this to enable us to have a better engagement with our customers. And I think the third application here is more about the customer service. Typically, I say organizations has to focus more about customer service because this is your mirror, that you are a customer experience-centric organization. Probably you are aware about every one of us has some bad experience with some of the contact centers and customer service with service provider, where some of them are, rude, some of them are not fulfilling your inquiry, sometimes not answering you. Even sometimes I say in my courses, I go typically to some of the websites of these provider, and the word "contact us," is hidden somewhere. That shows me is basically a message: don't contact us. It's actually the other way around. And more importantly as well, how this can help organizations to leverage and build capabilities to increase growth and increase sales to their firms. And we'll see different examples from all of those. You can go to the second slide, please. And to do this, you need to think about a way how to orchestrate these type of agentics across. So probably some of you heard about workflow capabilities. So how we can automate some of the processes when we are interacting and engaging with our customers. But the way I'm seeing the difficulty here with this type of agentic is actually it needs to understand different capabilities here. One, you need to discover what is really your customers need from you. And I think the second key elements here, how to assign, to the right agents to enable you to fulfill what is the customer really inquiry needs here or want. I think the third aspect is locating some informations about the customer's, inquiry about. And then obviously the capability of generative AI that we saw, it's more about human-like interaction. The text is generated is really close to people because it's been trained on public data and obviously internet. That's enabled it to become with a linguistic capability that we can now communicate with it in a human-like interaction. But more importantly is about how to retain successful workflow and build the knowledge documentation here. And the way we see it here, that's why, in the second layer, there are importance here that you have a group of agents across your different data points and systems to act as analytics agents. And here is to support us to understand, what are these really customer experience elements? What does the customer really need? What does the customer really think about? What do the customers really, feel when they are interacting with us? That enable us to refer to the right agents. And when we talk about agents, it could be an AI agent, but it could be as well a human agent in some scenarios, because sometimes we don't have the right capability that AI agents in this case can respond accurately to our customer interaction and response. The most important thing that we saw as well recently is that knowledge information retriever. This agent can code a different system, retrieve informations, and does things autonomously in different applications. So this is a power you could leverage here. And I think obviously, personalize the response that you have, either to give that response to your human agents or human person that can take this recommendation to save some time from him or her and enable them to push to the customers, or autonomously if you are really in a if you like a mature stage, that you can delegate this as well to the AI to do the responses automatically. And more importantly, how we can have group of agents as well that document what went well with the customers or what went well with our interactions and what went wrong to enable our future models to start to learn from this. Okay, we can now deep dive in some of these applications that we, starting to apply this capability in customer experience. And the third here aspects here is actually, if you can want to group them, it's actually how to analyze, how to assist and coach human agents, and then build this kind of act capabilities as well. If we go to the first application here, so how to track our customers across different data points that we have inside our organization. Probably most of the people that here traveled, using airlines across all different airlines globally. And why I'm talking about airlines in particular, because again, it's a productized business, although it is a service business and should work to our travel experience better. But probably most of you had a lot of rescheduling, cancellation of a flight, and then when you land in your destination, you receive an email from this company saying how likely you're going to recommend our service to a colleague or a friend, which is a survey that a lot of firms are automating to send after a service they provide to collect customer feedback about the service they offered. And typically, it's a survey questions from 0 to 10. If you give 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10, that means that you are a promoter and loyal to that kind of airline. And if you are, passive, that's probably you give them 7 and 8, and below 7 is what they call it detractor, which is basically a churn customers. And this is a practice not only in airlines, across the different, if you like, sectors at the moment. And 45%, there are statistics, is still a lot of firm leveraging that score, which is, they call it net promoter score, or overall satisfaction, which is something similar, but evaluate your satisfaction about a service. Another one, which is effort score, how effortless was the service with you. But most of them has the same mechanism. It's a survey score. It's from 0 to 10, and just measure how you are satisfied from the service, or how are you loyal to the service. But more importantly, back to the airline case, after cancellations and after rescheduling, firms still sending this survey as a way to understand whether the customer was satisfied or not. But in this case, typically you won't be satisfied whatsoever. So sending these surveys is meaningless. And the reason why they did this, because probably they're relying on a third party or a marketing company that they do this, and not integrated to what actually happened when you are really in the service as a customer. Probably you are dissatisfied. Either you will not reply to the email, or actually you give them a lower score. But it would be better if the company in this case has access to what's happening in the service and actually send an email apology to the customers because of this, or what will be the next action they will do, because they already should know that the customer will be not satisfied and probably not loyal and probably not actually fulfill what is the question is about, which is recommend them to a colleague or a friend. We can go to the second slide after that. And when we did some, if you like, work with a lot of firms in this, actually we evidently, and recently we published this in Harvard Business Review article around, this is really the case because customers can give you different signals from different data. And I think the applications of AI agentic to come here to retrieve these informations from these different systems can give you what we call the 360 view about the customer's interactions and communication with your company. And in this case, for example, you can look to the attitudinal data, which is represented by Net Promoter Score. Like I said, promoter in the chart here mean that they give 9 out of 10. If you look to the customer service or qualitative comments in the same customer, you can track them. You will find negative comments about the customer interaction. And you can see some of these qualitative comments on the right-hand side. Some of them saying, read my comments in the survey, I would due to replace you. So actually as a switching behavior. And actually, understanding only from one data point and you rely on it to go and communicate with your management team, this is what is the customer like or dislike is actually quite wrong in the world that we're living in the moment. Might be it worked 10, 15 years ago, but the world that we work in the moment is quite fast, has different data. Customers really keen about experience. They will engage with you if they have a great experience and consistent experience as well. So you need really to tackle, that you are capturing information not only from one data point, but across different data points to understand where things went wrong with your customers and help you as well to take the decision how to improve the journey. And we can move to the second slide. And this capability come back to this analytics type conversation or analytics capability of these agents can do on the real time now. We used to, when I started my career, that's probably 15 years ago, and this was very hard to do, to build the natural language processing, to go to textual data and basically try to classify. It needs a lot of development. But now with these kind of large language model capabilities, you can go sentence by sentence across these qualitative data that you have. This could be represented by customer service, could be represented by qualitative reviews, and go deep and try to analyze this, not only from sentiment and emotions, but go deeper about your, what we call it, value creation dimensions when you build your journey. This is go deeper into the resources, how basically you as well did the journey. So this is the activities part, the interaction, the contextual about the customers. You can go a lot of details about the touch points as well, and that's give you a better and deep insights around what is really the customers is evaluating our service to help us as an executive to take the right decision and rectify some of the problems that we have with the journey with the customer. And that's could be represented by the root causes analysis that comes out, like communication, capability, quality, and etc. according to your context here. We can move to another slide. But more importantly, now when we connect that to the sales and commercial data and behavioral system, right? So, and I heard this a lot from a lot of firms, and when I speak to a lot of managers and executives, I said, well, you are responsible about customer experience, for example, and you're capturing customer feedback through surveys, customer service, and etc. But how about you connect that to the sales and commercial data to give you as well the complete picture, which is whether the whether the customer is really buying from us or not. And typically the reaction of some of these kind of practitioners, oh, I don't have access to this data. This is with the commercial team or, with the finance team, and we don't have accessibility. So, this is really a problem, right? Because again, you don't have, like I said, that 360 view about what the customers really think and feel and do, right? When they are interacting and engaging with your customer. So if you look on the left side in this case, for example, you could have some agents go and basically try to analyze the attitudinal data and give you pictures like the perceived net promoter score that comes from across all the year from our customers is actually 70% promoters and 25 passive in this case and 5% detractor. But you go to the sales, I mean, again, back to the question. The question is asking our customers whether you are loyal. Loyal meaning you are still buying from us, you like our service and interaction, and you will never churn to another competitor. But that's now gone now. If you go to the behavioral data, the picture here gives us that indication. If you look to the red column here, this is customers that we consider them like loyal, and actually 42% for them is actually due to churn based on some metrics is like how recent they bought for us, how frequent they buy from us, how monetary contributions to us, so more in this commercial, if you like, analytics capabilities. And you can now have a machine learning model with these AI agents to predict whether they consistent in their buying or actually they start to drift, based on their behavioral transaction. And this data exists in your firm, but you're not leveraging in a way to orchestrate to give you the right insight. So the picture on the right is actually contradicting the picture on the left. But by integrating and engaging with these different capabilities, it can enable you to get the right picture and the 360 view about these customers, how they engaging and interacting in a commercial and attitudinal and emotional aspects to take the right decisions where you can really rectify some of these issues. You can move to the next slide. And to do this, there's actually now across back to the framework that we are presented, you can have a group, like I said, of analytic agents, when data coming point from that customers, starting to analyze, these different textual data like we showed before, but more importantly, connect, this with other agents. So it could be this agent, other system, like CRM system, like service history, like revenue and commercials, and etc. And retrieve, these informations to give you a better pictures about that customers. And I think what is missing from that slide, but we couldn't go to the old slides because of the time, is the right action. You can recommend the right actions and recovery process to whoever now will follow up with that customers. It could be customer success team in this case. It could be customer service. It could be the service department that is trying to rectify, in this case, the problems that the customers have, to enable them really to get them back from this at-risk kind of indicators into back to the loyalty capabilities here. And now this could be done right through these different orchestration agents that goes and retrieve the right information, do the right analysis, respond or recommend some response to the customers, and hopefully it works. So in this case, that's a successful workflow of that customers, and that could be for future customers when you predict similar behavior that will happen from future customer in essence, or learn from the failure as well, what will be alternative actions that didn't work before, and how that could be part of our, if you like, learning and documentation here. Now, if we move to the second application, which is the engagement side of the, which is we spoke about, organizations try to get customer attention, right? And probably in again, similar span, marketing team, their role here is actually try to build advertisements, try to make the products that they have through product campaigns, pushing to you over social media, apps, emails, campaigns, and etc. And this is really to try to get your attention, and basically, to not going to other competitor in this case. But if you look to some of the stats around this as well, it seems as well across the different here sectors on that chart, engagement rate is quite still low. And this is in social media capabilities like obviously Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and etc. Even sport team as well, which is they are pushing a lot of multimodality content. Take a case here of Arsenal and Manchester, or here in the UK we have a Premier League. Which is they are pushing a lot of interaction and engagement in social media capability to engage their fans as well. And when we did some work as well with some of these organizations, we found even with their content, it could be the highest engaged content here by their fans. It could reach only 8%. Obviously, there is an algorithmic as well factor here, but it's still 8%, from your, if you like, fan base to engage with your top, if you like, content is quite low in this case. And if you go to the second slide, and if you look deeper into these different data sets that these organizations are sitting, is quite huge. And this is just to differentiate between what we call it generative contents and actual content. So in the sport in general, and type of setup, in one match, you could take in one day more than 25,000 images and videos across a different match for the 90 minutes of match or 1 hour or whatever. And so that's this is shows that there is a lot of data coming back to the marketing team, who has to choose from that 25,000 images and videos. It's typically impossible for them to leverage, their domain experience. Basically, they will have to go look into the top 20 or something based on their domain experience and then push it. But hence now, the AI and multimodal AI capabilities can enable this to be basically analyzed again, recommended to that marketing team, and then pushed, as well to the content and measure whether it was a success or not. And from the picture that you see here, you can see that multimodality is huge. It's text, videos, images, combination of them. And over the years, you can see, for example, in this case, from one of this football club, is actually looking into the video increase as well, which is has that voice element on top of this in some of them, which is increase again the complexity of the data that we have here. We can move. And to do this, you again come back to this things that we discussed. You go deeper here into this, especially textual data like natural language processing, images and videos, and you go deeper into a lot of informations inside that text. The face analysis, for example, when the face looks to the camera is better, or actually when they are in an emotional type of things, right? So they are in anger, they are in surprise, they are in smiley face. Domination effect, there is some psychology as well. Some people are dominant than others. The surrounding as well, that pictures and videos, it is what makes people, or fans in this case, engage better with these contents. So now you can leverage all these capabilities to enable you to get a score in this case. This is the likelihood of your top 10 as a marketer to push now in this situation, in this context, and that hopefully can give you a successful campaign in this case. You can move to the second slide. And this could be the case here. You can see here a group of, obviously images and videos comes, to the AI analytics, AI agent analytics, do this kind of analytics, move this to the different, if you like, agent that have different specialities, some of them in face type of speciality, some of them on the audio, some of them in the emotions, and then give you again that kind of scoring mechanism to help you to filter these type of contents based on behavior, if you like, previous data and historical data, to enable you to benchmark against them, and hopefully that increase the success campaign and content you're pushing, because it costs you a lot of money. So this is important that these campaigns are successful to enable you better engagement, and then personalize the response to the human marketer agents, or actually if you are confident about the maturity, you make the AI take that decision. Okay, let's move to the third application in this case, which is coming back to the customer service in general. And back to my comments about, how many of us we've been interacting with customer service and customer support, and some of them are helpful, some of them are not helpful. But the case here is actually it's in some scenarios like e-commerce companies and etc. We found that you could have 1 million conversation per day, because you could have social media interaction. So customer interact with firm over social media channels, customer service and social media, over phone, over chatbots as well now, and over emails as well. So all this could reach out to a massive amount of data coming to your customer support team. And obviously, how many human you will have to enable you to fulfill and basically, answer all these inquiries to your customers. It's quite difficult and tough. And this has enabled the human agent now to go and script, right? So this is what I'm talking about marketers as well, give some guidance to some of their customer support team. And basically they are using this as a copy and paste. This is why sometimes some of you can feel that this is really scripted, as if a robot is actually copying and pasting things and send it to you. That's end up, but what are situations where we saw in a lot of companies that 49% of these inquiries unresolved. Some of them actually are abandoned altogether. That could reach in some situations that you are either customers because they are not satisfying from the customer support service, they are actually churn and leave the company, or actually sometimes they are coming to you to ask about products and services. And because you're not answering them, that can lead into what we call 6 million potential revenue loss. That's actually actual numbers that we measure as a lot of firms that we worked with. And this is coming back to the point that organizations are a little bit, sometimes this is an overwhelming operational constraint, because how many people you will have in customer support, it's a cost. Typically, when you ask executive about customer service, for their mind, it's a cost center. I have to have it to answer customer inquiry, but it is your mirror, like I said, to the experience that you're provided. That's a touch point that you need to worry about, because it could again make customers leave your firms and go to your competitor. And the average of customer support teams could reach from 25 to 100, very rare it go to thousands in this case. And if it is thousands, it costs you a lot of money. Here, where the application of AI could help you to retrieve this, in some situation actually could take an average of a human agent to reply 2-3 hours until it comes back to you. Which is too long in the world that we're living at the moment. Customers want quick replies, because it really comes to you about an issue that they have. If I move to the next slide. And this is, then sometimes company comes to me saying, sometimes I don't have data, about customer survey. How can I understand some issues that the customer have? And that can enable me really starting to, build my journey and, recover some of the experience that I have. But when we deep dive into some of these customer service data, we found that the majority is about service feedback already. So back to my first type of applications, if you track your customer attitude now with the customer service, you will find a complementary message here. And if you look at the example here, when you have group of conversation analytics looks at it, the customer is really complaining about waiting, right? So they wasting their time, they want somebody to hurry to answer their inquiries, they WhatsApp you a couple of times and nobody responding. People are abandoning, like I said, and etc. And that's again put this message, or that, if you like, customers, when I go to establish firm saying, oh, we help our customers, we are really keen about their customers. But if you look at the customer service data, it can give you a different picture in this case. If I move to the next slide. And another big thing here is actually coming back to our insights that we discussed. The performance of human agents is really important. So if you look at some of these examples, it's quite scripted. They copy and paste. So a customer here, for example, I would like to go about maintenance and installation. They copy and paste call or send text messages to X and Y and Z, right? But again, I don't want to do that. Actually, it should be autonomous here. It should be very as well personalized in this case. Why, you ask me as well? I already contact you through one channel. You have to convert me and divert me straight away to the right department instead of me doing this by myself. But more importantly as well, you need to analyze the human agent response or the AI agent response. To what extent, for example, you need in some situation to chit chat with the customers in situation where you're uploading system or some delays and etc. In some situation, customer is really frustrated. You need to be empathetic about the situation that they are talking to you about. In some situations, actually, customers want to get along and basically solve the problem that they are coming to you. So again, how you play with the agentic capability, either the human to recommend to the human, or actually the AI does that automatically based on the maturity, like I said. To return your customers, you need really, when it comes to, if you like, a complaint or an inquiry about an issue or a problem, how to play with these dimensions to enable actually the customers have a great experience interactions with you. Go to the second slide. But there is also as well on the fact, some of these inquiries we found it's a sales opportunity. So actually, customers calling you or through chatbot interactions, they ask about products and service. They ask about some promotions that you actually offered in the social media. They ask about some of the campaign that you send them emails and bost mails and etc. And here's you not need someone to resolve an issue as a customer. That's a different inquiry. You need sales team has a sales skill that enable them to actually offer the product and service. Otherwise, like we said, the customers will leave and go to another companies and buy from them. And when we analyze a lot of these data from customer service, we found most of the human agent doesn't have the sales skills in general. In situation where, for example, customer ask about a product, an easy answer for the human agents, because they're not trained to sell, it's basically say it's not available. If it is a sales conversation, you need to shift the mood. Okay, what is available then? Because now it's a negative response from you as a human agent. I will hang up and basically go to another competitor and try to buy that from them. But is it better to starting to give some different offers, to the customer, saying, "Oh, what is your if you're looking for that product, probably similar products that we have X and Y and Z, we can do some offers exclusive to you because you are an existing customer that we have in our system." And based on the customer's dialogue and conversation, the customer starting to talk about size, colors, and now you're starting to go to the personalization and try to customize it to the customers and provide a quality information to them to make them take the right decisions, and help the customers in that sales opportunity. Let's move to the second slide. And this now, obviously with some of organization that we worked with, it could reach in e-commerce 2 million products that you might have inside the firm. So no way a human agent will be really educated and learn about all the products that you have inside your firm. Here is again how to build capability like agentic capabilities to go and retrieve this information from different systems that you have and provide it to the human agent in this case, or the sales people, or the AI, if again the maturity is really high, that you push it automatically to the customers, based on their needs and based on what they wanted and customized to their needs in this case. But here is the retrieval, if you like. AI agents can help you to go and retrieve all these information and respond quicker to the customer. If you go now to the third slide after this, here is an example of this, right? So here is a recommendation. The customer, what is a type fully automatic machine that you have? To process the product details, so this is coming. Could be the scripted response of the human agents typically. But look into the AI recommendation here is actually completely different. So you can see here when the customers ask about that product, they're starting to go retrieve different product informations, put it in a personalized way. Obviously, if you access to the CRM, they can say, "Hello, Mohammed," in this case, for example. You're asking about this. Here is the different options. We can offer customizations, programs to you to complete your purchase. Please do blah, blah, blah. So you can see difference between a scripted typical response, not a salesy conversation response, and the AI, how they recommend the different options to the customers to take a decision based on this. If you go to the slide. And here is a case. So you can take the customers into more, and we applied some of these things with some of the firms that we worked with, is actually customer inquiry coming in this case. And it could be now, if you like, classified based on the conversation analytics into a couple of moods. One mood could be customer inquiry is a sales opportunity, could be actually a complaint, for example, about an issue or a service feedback about an issue. Now you go and fetch and leverage now different AI agents, go to different systems like the CRM systems, look whether this customer is existing customers, come up with some insights about their existing behavior or previous behavior. If they're asking about the product in this case, so how you can retrieve this product information like we saw before, personalize the response based on their need, and then up to your configurations internally, either you leave it to the human agents to review it, and then they press the send and try to convert, or actually on the other side is actually you have a mature AI technology and you are very sure that this is going to work, so actually it's sent automatically to the AI. And we did some tests, if you go to the follow-up slide, and we did some tests with some of the firms that we worked with. This type of agentics that has an impact. There's actually increased sales in some situations by 25%, because basically a lot of these conversation analytics as well work very well when as well provide a queue or a priority, if you like, that customer that the intent felt that they have a buying intent in this case. And probability of how high it is, how medium and low, and then, if you like, put these customers into a list where either the human agent can follow up with them if as well they didn't buy in the same time, or actually again the AI follow up with them automatically by email campaigns and etc. And when it's been measured, they found there is a huge impact in increased sales. But more importantly, in the follow up slide, it's increased as well customer satisfaction. If you go to the follow-up slide, increase customer satisfactions when handling as well complaints with customers, and it reached to a point where it come now 85%. But more importantly as well, I mean, there is no slide here about this, it saves a lot of time from the human agents. It reached more than 4,000 hours of different human agents by going and doing capabilities like understanding from the CRM systems, what is this customer, retrieving product informations, create, if you like, the script and response to the customers, reviewing it and sending, took massive amount of the time and increased productivity of the human agents in this case. Next slide. And hopefully this is give you more overview about how agentic AI can really orchestrate across these different functions: customer experience, sales, customer service, tracking customers, and engagement and multimodality. And if you need to know more, obviously, I'm running a research center, which is Cambridge Service Lines, like Philip introduced me at the top. This is all rigorous research he's doing, publishing this in industry outlets like Harvard Business Review. But recently as well, I did a book about data-driven customer experience. So if you want to know more about these applications, you're more than welcome, if you want to get that from Amazon's and other outlets, to know more about this research. It's more a practice frameworks and tools and AI and how we leverage this across different organizations. But also come back to the follow-up slide. But also as well, we take some of these type of materials and we engage as well with some of practitioners in a training and education setup to disseminate some of the knowledge that we learned from our interaction with all of these firms. And through obviously Cambridge Advanced Online, we have our online course, which is data design for customer experience course. But also as well, we have in-person courses that we run in our departments through IFM Engage as well. Last slide. And probably that's all from my side. Sorry, I took a little bit of time, but I think there is an opportunity now for Phil to facilitate and some of the questions that you might have to me. Thank you so much for listening.
Absolutely. Yeah. Feel free to keep those questions coming in the Q&A box. We'll address them very soon. Just a quick touch point on next steps. After today's session, we will share resources and links for further learning. You'll also receive details on how to explore more courses with the University of Cambridge Online. Just to touch again, one of the things that makes the University of Cambridge Online unique is how we bring together different departments across the university to build each course. So rather than working only with one faculty, we draw from multiple disciplines to create learning that reflects real-world problem solving. This is just one example of the specialized topics we offer. So data-driven design for customer experience, led by Professor Mohamed Zaki here, designed to help you leverage data to enhance customer journeys, and would certainly build on some of the great subjects that topics we've covered today. If you would like to learn more or discuss enrollment, please do reach out. You can email me at philip.perrin@cambridge.org, or do visit the course page where you can request a call or enroll for one of our upcoming course dates. So yes, now indeed, we will answer some of your questions that have been put forward. There are a lot and we are limited with time, so we'll try and do as many as we can. I'm just going to pull up the Q&A box. There were a few just early on, Mohamed, that perhaps we can cover really quickly. And it's kind of around the differences between agentic AI and generative AI. Are they one and the same? Does one sit within the other? And then how do you choose which one to use? So we looked at agentic AI specifically here, but does generative AI do the same thing?
Oh, I mean, this is a really a good question. I think let's go back a little bit onto the evolutions of machine learning and AI in general. So we used to have different fields here, some of them coming from quantitative data, so that's the 0, 1s, and we leverage here to understand patterns from the data using traditional ways of machine learning exercises like classification models and etc. So in the case of sales data, for example, this is, you could here actually running machine learning exercise because it's numbers, right? So it's not a textual data. And then we have, if you like, another discipline, which we call it natural language processing, which is dealing with textual data, right, from its name. And this has a huge evolution over the time. So we used to really design, go capture specific information from a corpus of a text, in this case, like customer service data or qualitative reviews and etc. And this is where the new, if you like, generative AI is starting to come into place, when there is a new architecture or techniques called transformer being produced by a company like Google, change the way that we are interacting with text or analyzing text or generating text in general. Not only that technology, but different technology, but to simplify it in this case. And the generative AI is basically, this is where this evolution of natural language came across. We have other disciplines like vision analytics, looking to images and videos. We have obviously sound as well. So all these different under the umbrella of AI. Now, I think where Agentic came, when the large language model in particular as a technology, and probably for the people that hear a large language model came, where training these, if you like, transformer architectures and etc., with a billion of parameters, right? And these billion of parameters coming from public data, right? Which could be Wikipedia, social media, and etc. Now that we're starting to observe that this technology does things beyond generating, text. There is no science yet how they do this, right? But basically, the correlation is, if you put in these models a big amount of data, right, with a right cloud infrastructure, it has different capabilities, right? And the capabilities here about, which has come to your question, what is the agentic AI? Is it could break tasks and starting into that reasoning and building logics around their thinking. And the difference here between generative AI, from my view, generative AI should be used with its limitation. At the end of the day, it's a prediction of the next word. So, for example, if they looked into the different patterns that Mohamed is a professor in University of Cambridge, that's a likelihood that going to come all the time like this. But if there is other Mohammed as well, which is a professor in University of Manchester, for example, sometimes the answer will be different, right? Based on the context and based on the answer that you have. So my advice also to your second part of the questions, where to use it, it's basically based on the objective. So if the objective is for example, in the framework, back to the framework, is generating an answer and response, this is where large language model or generative AI should come, because it do well when it generates textual data. And when it comes to the agentic, here actually go capturing different informations and do a task like retrieving information from different systems, like the examples I showed before in some of my slide. This is when breaking task, reasoning, understanding what will be the next course of actions to do. Here is where the technology happens. Bear in mind, when it comes to agentic, it's a mix between traditional, it's not all about the technology of generative AI. That's always my advice to firm. So you can have an agent that have machine learning capability, but communicate the results with another one that has a generative capabilities. It's more about the orchestration and how you design the architectures to achieve the objective that you have.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you, Mohammed. That's really good. And this probably leads on quite nicely as you touched on towards the end there. So for organizations at an early stage of adoption, which agentic AI capabilities should be prioritized first, i.e. conversation analytics, engagement prediction, or AI-supported agent responses, and why?
So I wouldn't start by this, to be honest. So my advice to you is actually what will be the best use case to achieve a problem that the customer have. The answer doesn't have all the time to become the agentic capability, right? It's there are simple way to retrieve to leverage AI in general, where the customer have a pain point and a friction. I think it's a wrong advice for me if I say, oh, you should go jump in the wagon here and basically starting to leverage ChatGPT or Claude infrastructure, or go to LangChain architecture and try to do something with it. You have to start by the business problem. You have to go and assess the maturity of the company in terms of data foundation. Because again, back to my examples, when I ask executives around, do you have access to this data? No. So the models, whatever agentic you will give, it's not going to work and not going to provide you with the right insights to make the decisions that you need in your organization. So I think as a first step, identify the business problem, define what would be the right technology to be used, check the maturity. Third thing, check the maturity of the company. And the maturity of the company comes from the data foundation, to what extent you need some infrastructure capabilities, integration capabilities to make everything ready for the customer. Then I would start by piloting the typical way of doing the experiment, measure impact, and then once you are really satisfied about the impact and do the right configuration, you can launch that service to your customers and measure how it works over the time.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to see if I can find just one last question, because I appreciate we are pretty much out of time. But perhaps that just expands a little bit more on what's discussed there. So based on your research at the University of Cambridge, are there any particular governance frameworks or design principles that you see as essential to ensure agentic AI enhances rather than erodes customer trust in service experiences?
Um, I think if the question is about different applications, yes, I think there is. And I saw a lot of applications with some of our interactions with companies is around related to help employees to this assistant capability, how to co-pilot and increase productivity inside inside your organization. Take an example of if I start by, if you like, the technology team, right? There is massive use cases around documenting, if you like, architectures and writing the business requirements to help the coder teams and programming team and the data science team to structure a product out of it. There are massive improvement, obviously, in increase productivity for that team as well, to come up with new digital services to your customers and design and pilot and experiments and build a digital app out of it. I think if you look to the different functions here, like the HR team, this is where, onboarding new employee, for example, you can obviously, it takes a lot of times in big established firms. Writing standard operating procedures is another big use cases where a lot of firms generating a lot of different processes to customers. Finance as well, interactions with co-pilots, assistants to help accountancy and finance team. There are massive application beyond the customer service and stuff. Go to the operation side, obviously supply chain as well, visibility, so access different data points like news and orders and different suppliers information, building on knowledge graph capabilities, networks of people based on a different data to enable you. If I have an issue with one supplier, or there is a disruption in the market from one supplier, what will be the opportunity for other suppliers to intervene here? So yeah, so there is a lot of application and use cases and to be enable you to use. Governance, you're absolutely right, because it's a massive activity inside the firms across different functions. Executive teams has to put a structure to enable them really which technology should be used, which technology should be invested at, and which technology have the right different return of investments, with also as well the ethical consideration, the regulatory consideration, the obviously, like I said, it's not a bulletproof technology, could fail as well, and that could make a problems for firms in repetitions, in issues with customers, and etc. That's why governance structures which technology we can use in specific cases, which use cases we should discuss and apply, which one we should kill as well, which one doesn't work for us. This is really important to be discussed and build the right frameworks to enable this to be happening. But it comes from all the way from qualifying the right use case, planning the right efforts, discuss the right technology, experiment and pilot, and obviously design, experiment and pilot and test capabilities until you reach to a maturity where you institutionalize this AI under your customers based on the maturity that you have over the time.
Fantastic. Yeah, thank you so much. I'm really sorry to all the other questions we haven't managed to have time for, but I'm afraid that is all the time we have for today. We do really appreciate you joining and hope you have found this session insightful and inspiring. Please do reach out to us. Please contact us via the website, explore some of our courses. Some of your questions certainly fit in nicely into how we can solve some of those problems through some of the Cambridge Advanced online courses we have available. Wishing you all a very great day ahead, and hopefully join us again in the future. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.